People who quit their jobs on the first day, what was your IMO to hear moment? Worked in a hotel for a day. No one told me where anything was. Got chewed out for it. Guests enjoying their meals told me to pay no mind. I was doing a good job and that my boss is a cunt. I told the manager that I was quitting and wouldn't he be doing the next shift. I arrived the next day, returning a work uniform, and my supervisor approached me and yelled at me for being late. I told her I already quit, but if I was working, technically I was 5 hours early for my shift. Absolute nutcases. Fast food chain. I was 17. I found out during training that the place had been robbed 3 times in the past month and one employee was seriously injured. Not worth the $5 an hour. At it, for those asking about the pay and the time, this was the state of Georgia in 2004. I worked at a KFC when I was 16. I remember the training orientation video told us over and over not to be a hero if you get robbed. Do they really think we gonna take a bullet for them? Like we gonna scream not on my watch and dive over the counter? I worked at a college textbook store and there was this really old man who came in, like old 90. He walked in a really slow shuffle. He went around just putting all sorts of little things in his basket, pens, erasers, notebooks, then just shuffled right out the door. The first time it happened we were all like, the fuck did that old man just are? The 2nd time he came in, he did the exact same thing and one of the cashiers tried to stop. He said to her in this raspy old man voice, "Look at you standing there with your teeth in your head. Forget about it," and then shuffled out. Sadly, he never came back. My very first job was at a little drive-in restaurant close to my high school. I showed up to work the first day. The lady said I had to pay her $50 for training. She showed me around the place and said that my pay would be $4.50 hour as a car hop. This was in 2010, and all the tips I made went into a bucket with all the other girls' tips. At the end of the night, she counted up tips, kept 20 for herself and split the rest up evenly among every employee. Also, part of our job was 1 day a week we had to spend 4 hours cleaning her house. It seemed super shady. I literally left after listening to her go over all these rules. My dad was pissed until I explained, and another girl confirmed, and my dad agreed I did the right thing. Went into an Italian restaurant for my first day of work and I got 3 red flags on the very first day. 1, the manager said he had lots of hours for me and getting shifts would be no problem. Every single other employee told me that they were struggling 4 hours and that they had no idea why they hired me. 2, everyone said the manager was an asshole, even the customers. 3, it was my first day there and I actually had to teach the woman training me how to do 1 or 2 things. Salesman for Kirby vacuums. First sale call was to a single elderly woman who was supporting her son in hospital. They got us in the door by offering a free carpet clean as a demonstration. The supervisor training me pushed and pushed to make the sale until this old woman was in tears. Just as she was about to sign the paperwork, I asked if she actually wanted to vacuum and she said it was lovely but she couldn't afford it. I took the paperwork away from her and said not to worry. Outside I told the supervisor I quit, to which he replied I would be been fired anyway. No love lost. I hung around for half an hour playing on my phone to make sure the supervisor left because he was a real piece of work. I technically quit before my first day. I got hired at a well-known gift store. I was hired with the understanding that I would work Saturdays, Sundays and a grand total of 8 hours a week, so 2 4-hour shifts. Also at minimum wage. Not a problem with me, done that before. I would just pick up a part-time job for rest of the week. Nope, apparently that wasn't allowed. The manager thought that was a horrible thing and disrespectful to her. I should only work for them and only them, and I should have better control over my money if I can't survive on 64 a week before taxes. Yeah, didn't he show up cause fuck that noise. She called pissed off that I wouldn't show up to such an opportunity. I was a cashier at this cafeteria for a large company in my town. The people that worked at the company would put their tips in a bucket and the people made a lot of money, so there was like 10 ass and 20 ass. The manager of the cafe wouldn't let me have any of tips because she said that cashiers couldn't be trusted, so she would ship the tip money to a church in El Paso. I immediately knew that this was a load of bullshit and I just never went back. It is also illegal, I think, to collect money for one thing but do something else with it without disclosing what it is for.